I love how Onebrief's platform user interface is self-contained. So a lot of times planners, they have to deal with all the Microsoft Power products or Microsoft Office products. So PowerPoint, Word, and Excel, making X checks and all those different sources and having to reach and grab them from all shared drives or portals. Whereas this is all self-contained, and that's pretty awesome. I love how I don't have to go anywhere because everything's either created in there, and if it's not in there, it doesn't exist. And so that's kind of my thing I really liked about it.
This is awesome. I love how yeah, this totally changes the game from, I feel like I was a caveman, trying to do planning 4 years ago with sticks and rocks. So what I really love, I think the secret sauce here is that everything's all linked together, and that if you set it up right and you've got a good knowledge manager. I had a great knowledge manager. She was a teacher, right? And so that was her full-time job. So she dealt with little children and keeping them on track, and that works really well for staff officers. So, but you got to give them the rails. If you've got this good workflow and this good business process, and all these things are linked together and changes propagate through, it's magically delicious. And this, one person changes one thing, it'll go through. A great example is changing the classification of one little card. One place will change the higher level classification of an order. So I love that it's all linked together and that the cards provide that linkage.
The knowledge management piece is huge. I think if a unit has SOP for how they label, how they do things, it could look really clean, professional, and crisp. Obviously we're all just kind of figuring it out as we go, and it still looked good. But I could imagine with an SOP and how it's done and how a unit does it, it could look really good. But I was just going to echo the all contained, because you're not sharing a PowerPoint back and forth. You're not sending slides, the version control. Like the fact you just log in and you can get it and it's updated and you know where the stuff is. And then it all feeds into everything, like into include the Warno. It is a game changer for sure.
I like the fact that we did not hear version control one time, because I think there's so much stress that comes with that. And every one of you is cringing inside right now because, yeah, that nerve. I like to think of it too as what I could have done if I had my Marines in my section on their laptops next to me while we are all working together as a section and as a staff to support the other main planners, like G35, my favorite planner ever, Dave. But just that collaboration where like I can be in my little group, my Marines and I are doing things, and then it's just quicker to get to the planners that, have to go to the boss and brief that. So I think the staff collaboration is how I looked at it as an operations officer. So that's how I appreciate it.
None of us have worked together before, right? I haven't worked with anybody here ever. I talked to Sarah a little bit as a former loggy, just helping her with some loggy stuff before we started, just to we could be on the same page in case she had any questions. But that is the power of the tool, and that's why this is awesome, is the fact that none of us worked together before, and we were able to create products that would normally take days, if not sometimes weeks, to put together, is a testament to the system. And I mean, all of us have worked, time in the military where you're working with brand new people and an exercise that, they added somebody at the last minute, or you're traveling somewhere, going to a conference and having to collaborate. So I think that is the power of Onebrief, is the fact that all of us never worked together before. We were able to produce something in a very quick amount of time that normally would take much longer with the old processes.
What I really like is the, similar to what you guys have already talked about, is not just the collaboration, but the fact that it builds tempo over time. So as a planner, we build individual PowerPoint briefs for the mission analysis brief, the problem framing brief, the COA brief, the COA war game, the COA decision, and those are all separate briefs. They're all 110 megabytes each. And then at some point you have to email it to the computer next to you, because that's the only computer that can show it up on the screen to brief the boss. And it's all done. And it just builds on itself, and you have it. And not only that, but then it goes directly into the order. I realized that we probably did not succeed with the stopwatch today with the warning order, but I mean, that it's very clear to me that goes immediately into the operations order. And the number of times I've done planning where we're finished with the PowerPoint slides, and then we all just like sit back in our chairs and like figure, now that we know we have to build this op order and all the annexes, and I mean, it is soul crushing when you have to then start building an operations order and start digging through 17 different PowerPoints, and you're on version 37, like Sarah said, of Onebrief, and version 43, and then someone has to go their TAD, they leave, and the version was on their laptop, and they've flown back to another location. The fact that all this is happening is awesome. I am excited to see the other parts of the planning process with Onebrief.
I know that you guys have been concentrating on having things on SIPR and JWICS, but I think it's awesome having an unclass instance, so that these chiefs and these primary staff officers, they can do staff X's down at this level, just like we're doing now in an unclassed environment, just to get used to the tools, and they can work out their SOP so they don't have to go into the SCIF to do it. I think that that's huge.
I'm teaching an advanced PME course here in Saudi Arabia to the Ministry of the National Guard, field grade officers. I would use this to teach the joint planning process to the Saudi Arabian National Guard military right now, tomorrow.